top 5 ways that military divorces are different. The first way that military divorces are different is the military pension. So there's different components of military retirement. There's the TSP plan, which is the thrift savings plan, and then there's also the military pension, which is kind of the one that a lot of people think of when they're thinking about military retirement. The military pension is a much more complicated retirement vehicle. And again, when you're adding in the TSP, the thrift savings plan, to the whole mix of everything, you want to make sure that you have an attorney that has dealt with these issues before. There's different calculation issues that you have to look at. You need to look at when the military member entered military service, when they got divorced, when they got married. There's all these different dates that need to be looked at, and a military pension division order is what needs to be entered in order to make sure that the amount is done correctly, and then the information that needs to be in there is put in there correctly. So that's why I'm spending a little bit more on this first one, because this is the one that I get asked about probably the most, is military retirement. And because of the pension and because of the differences from different types of retirement vehicles like 401ks or IRAs, or even sometimes civil pensions, this is a different retirement vehicle that you need to make sure you have an attorney that understands military retirement. The second way that military divorces are different is deployment. A military service member's deployment can bring about a whole host of different things that need to be looked at and taken into consideration during a divorce, especially related to time sharing. Deployment may come up during the divorce proceeding or sometime afterwards, but it's good to look at those different scenarios and how it plays in to the time sharing situation. The third way that military divorces are different is the Service Members Civil Relief Act. This act is a federal law that was put in place to protect military service members. And this act protects active duty military members, reservists, and National Guard on active duty status. There's a whole host of provisions in place to ensure that the military service member is protected during the course of a proceeding. And now this act, if you've never read it or looked at it or used it before, and sometimes people are not familiar with it, it's a good thing to be familiar with, because again, for a military service member, there are protections in there that can be beneficial during the course of a divorce or a family law proceeding. Fourth way that military divorces are different are the military rules and procedures. The military rules and procedures are specific to military service. There's a lot of different rules and procedures out there that civilians, frankly, just don't need to worry about, because it's very specific to military members and what the military member needs to adhere to during the divorce. It's important to retain an attorney and consult with an attorney that understands the various procedures that are specific to their situation to make sure they can assist them during the course of the divorce. Finally, the fifth way that military divorces are different are LES statements, leave and earning statements, right? Again, this is a pay statement that we use during the course of a divorce proceeding to look at, to understand a military service member's pay, but there's a lot of other information in there with regards to benefits and other information that's, again, this is a very detailed document that for the military service member or for the spouse to be able to review and to be able to use during the course of the case. So it looks different than a normal pay stub. So that's the important part, is making sure that the attorney that you use has looked at an LES statement before and understands the different categories, because there's a lot of different information and a lot of very useful and helpful information on that LES statement. Some differences that you will see on an LES that's different from a civilian divorce are maybe BAS or BAH. So like a housing allowance, that is something that's different, but the military service member needs to understand what requirements are of them during the course of the divorce and what will happen when the divorce is entered. So again, this LES statement breaks a lot of different things down, and that's helpful information. These LES statements are different than normal pay stubs. As you can see, there's a lot of differences in a military divorce, and that's why you need to make sure that you speak to an attorney who has experience in military divorces so they can help you out during the course of your divorce or your family law proceeding. Thanks for watching.